I'm Muhammed Ahmad Hamdan and this is Nightline, and here are the top stories. Limiting the Prime Minister's term and separating the AG's powers, two landmark bills tabled in the Dewan Rakyat. And historic US blizzard cripples Northeast, massive travel bans in effect. Good morning. The government has tabled a bill to limit the Prime Minister's tenure to 10 years or 2 terms for its first reading in the Dewan Rakyat. Also tabled on Monday was a bill to split the roles of the Attorney General and the Public Prosecutor. Both bills were presented by a minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Datuk Seri Azalina Othman Said.
Tuan Yang di-Pertua, saya mohon mengemukakan rang undang-undang Perlembagaan Pindaan 2026.
According to the proposed amendments to Article 43 of the Federal Constitution, a Prime Minister appointed under Clause 2A shall not hold office for more than 10 years, whether continuously or otherwise. A new Clause 4A provides that the Prime Minister shall cease to hold office upon completing an aggregate of 10 years. Members of the Cabinet shall also cease to hold office following the Prime Minister's removal. The bill will also apply to former Prime Ministers. Meanwhile, the second bill seeks to vest full prosecutorial powers in the Public Prosecutor, while the Attorney General will advise the government on matters other than criminal law and criminal procedure. Azalina said the two bills are in line with the government's institutional reform agenda.
The Constitution is not like the Quran that you cannot amend. The Constitution is amendable. The next government that has majority 2/3 can amend the law.
She also expressed confidence that both bills would receive support. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister will have no role in the appointment of the Public Prosecutor under the proposed bill to separate prosecutional powers. Attorney General Tan Sri Muhammad Dusuki Mokhtar said the appointment will be made by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong at his discretion, with the consent of the Conference of Rulers. According to him, qualified candidates for the post will be nominated by the Judicial and Legal Service Commission.
Ideanya dia asal kita nak pisahkan campur tangan politik dalam pelantikan, dalam aspek pelantikan seorang pendakwah raya ni. Sebab itulah kita tidak letakkan di situ peranan ahli politik termasuk Perdana Menteri lah.
Dusuki was speaking at a briefing in Parliament on the proposed legislation. He added that members of Parliament or state assemblymen will also not be eligible for appointment. The latest Auditor General's report tabled in the Dewan Rakyat on Monday has revealed 273 new issues. The concerns involve financial management weaknesses and governance non-compliance at the federal and state levels. According to Auditor General Datuk Seri Wan Suraya Wan Muhammad Radzi, the My Digital ID project under Mimos Berhad is among the new issues raised. The report identified that expenditures of over 28 million ringgit had been made without the approval of the designated committee. The audit report also detected serious irregularities in the collection of fee revenue and expenditures at University Kebangsaan Malaysia UKM. The issues include delays in the completion of building upgrade projects and the existing of mouldy facilities at UKM, affecting 251 research projects valued at 41 million ringgit. The issues identified can be accessed through the Auditor General's online dashboard to allow for monitoring and follow-up audit actions. Wan Suraya noted that the system has contributed to the recovery of government revenue and repayments of more than 316 million ringgit since 2024. The Prime Minister has called for greater sanity among world leaders amid growing global uncertainties. According to Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, such diplomatic efforts are not merely ceremonial, but aim to elevate Malaysia's standing as a trading nation that maintains friendly relations with all.
My main concern about international politics, which I don't want to actually touch upon now, is there is a need to bring back sanity among political leaders. May Allah give us that light, not too much in this region, but some other regions.
He said this at a foreign ministry's iftar event on Monday. Anwar said international politics must return to a more rational and balanced path, stressing that economic and digital transformation alone are not enough. Also present were Foreign Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Hassan, Deputy Foreign Minister Datuk Lukanisman Awang Sauni, Chief Secretary to the Government Tan Sri Shamsul Azri Abu Bakar, Media Prima Group Chairman Datuk Seri Dr. Syed Hussein Al-Junaid, as well as ambassadors and high commissioners.
2026-2030.
Meanwhile, in his social media post, Anwar revealed that the Northern Corridor Economic Region, or NCER, recorded 78.95 billion ringgit in realized investments and created more than 23,000 job opportunities in 2025. The Prime Minister said the findings were reported at the 35th Northern Corridor Implementation Authority meeting, which he chaired on Monday. In addition, last year NCER produced 4,000 local talents who met investor and industry requirements through the NCER Technology Innovation Centre program. The Prime Minister said the meeting also discussed plans for 2026 and the coming years, focusing on strengthening the NCER's role in accelerating the realization of high-quality investments in the northern region. Included are several potential investments related to the Kedah Rubber City and the Chuping Valley Industrial Area in Perlis. He added that the meeting also examined initiatives to expand the impact of investment ecosystem development in the Malaysia-Thailand border area, as well as a study to revitalize Langkawi's tourism sector. There is no heightened risk of a major aftershock. That's the word from geologists after that midnight quake shook Sabah and put authorities on high alert. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi says the government is closely monitoring the situation. This 6.8 magnitude tremor is actually one of the strongest to hit Malaysia in over a decade. University Malaysia Sabah geologist Professor Emeritus Felix Tongkul explained that the quake occurred very deep beneath the Earth's surface at a depth of 678 kilometers, about 49 kilometers west of Kudat. He went on to say that since the quake was so deep, the shaking felt on the ground was generally mild and widespread, with no tsunami threat. He stressed that such deep quakes differ from shallow ones such as the 2015 Ranau earthquake, which caused significant damage. The authorities are meanwhile continuing to monitor the situation closely. The Fire and Rescue Department has activated field monitoring with patrols in Putatan, Kudat and surrounding areas. Residents are urged to remain calm and refer only to verified updates from Met Malaysia and disaster agencies. So far, no damage, casualties or aftershocks have been reported. Police officers who refuse to assist members of the public in emergency cases because of their attire can be dismissed. Deputy Home Minister Datuk Seri Shamsul Anwar Nasara said a new directive issued by Bukit Aman last December makes such action a serious breach of conduct. Shamsul said any officer who turns away complainants based on their clothing can face disciplinary action under the Public Officers Conduct and Discipline Regulations 1993, including dismissal. The issue sparked controversy after allegations emerged that some police stations refused to accept reports from individuals deemed improperly dressed. In one recent case, a mother and her daughter were allegedly denied entry to a police station in Jasin while trying to report a car accident. The government maintains the directive is legally binding and sufficient, with compliance to be monitored continuously. 3 individuals, including the husband of a local celebrity and a prominent Islamic finance figure, have been charged at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court with conducting and abetting securities transactions without a valid license. Datuk Seri Mahadi Badrul Zaman, the husband of Datin Sri Heliza Hilmi, faces 2 charges, while Tan Sri Muhammad Daud Bakar and another individual each faces 1 charge. All 3 pleaded not guilty. Mahadi, aged 43, entered the plea after the charges were read to him separately before the judge. Mahadi, a representative of AUFMBZ Consortium, was alleged to have carried out securities business activities despite the company not holding a capital market services license or being registered to conduct such business. The offence was allegedly committed at a house in Subang Jaya between June 14, 2021 and February 15, 2024. The charges were framed under the Capital Markets and Services Act. If convicted, they face a maximum fine of 10 million ringgit or up to 10 years imprisonment or both. The court granted Mahadi bail of 50,000 ringgit for each charge with one surety and ordered him to surrender his passport and report monthly to the Securities Commission. A Terengganu State Executive Councillor is set to be charged at the Kuala Terengganu Sessions Court on Tuesday over alleged abuse of power. The charges are linked to allegations that the politician misused his position to have his 2 children employed at a state government-linked company. The suspect in his 60s was detained by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission, or MACC, early Monday when he arrived at the agency's office in Kemaman to give a statement. Preliminary investigations found the alleged offences took place in 2018 and 2020. He is expected to be charged under the MACC Act. A former telecommunications company director has been charged at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court with giving an 8 million ringgit bribe to a former bank president 14 years ago. Datuk Ranjit Singh Sidhu, however, pleaded not guilty after the charge was read before Judge Rosli Ahmad. The 56-year-old accused is alleged to have given the bribe to former President and Group Managing Director of Bank Pembangunan Malaysia Berhad, Datuk Muhammad Zafir Muhammad Hashim. The payment was said to be an inducement to approve a 400 million ringgit loan application by V Telecoms Berhad. The loan was intended to finance the development of a coastal network consisting of fibre optic infrastructure across peninsular Malaysia. The charge, framed under the MACC Act, carries a penalty of up to 20 years imprisonment and a fine of not less than 5 times the bribe amount or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher, upon conviction. The accused also faces 2 additional charges of using forged documents as genuine at the same time and location. The court allowed bail at 150,000 ringgit with one surety, with additional conditions including surrendering his passport and reporting to the MACC headquarters once a month. The case is fixed for mention on March 30th. Malaysia's trade momentum is expected to remain intact into 2026 despite global uncertainties. APAC Securities said strong January export data, steady global growth and resilient US demand, along with the AI-driven semiconductor upswing, will continue to support exports. However, the firm cautioned that growth may moderate in the second half of the year as base effects fade and trade conditions remain fluid. Risks include tariff developments, geopolitical tensions, and a firmer ringgit. Apex maintained its 2026 export growth forecast at 4.8% and GDP at 4.7%. On monetary policy, it said there is no urgency for Bank Negara Malaysia to adjust rates, with a wait-and-see approach likely. Meanwhile, the firm expects volatility after US President Donald Trump announced a 15% global tariff for 150 days. Malaysia Airports Holdings Berhad MAHB recorded 9.4 million domestic passenger movements in January 2026, the opening month of Visit Malaysia 2026. In a statement, MAHB said the Kuala Lumpur International Airport and the Pulau Pinang International Airport registered the highest year-on-year growth. The Sepang-based airport led with 5.9 million passengers, an 8.2% increase, while over in Pulau Pinang, the airport handled 741,183 passengers, up 3.8%. MAHB said the growth reflects strong travel demand and expanding connectivity, with 6 new routes launched linking Malaysia to several Chinese cities and Hong Kong. The group added it will continue to upgrade infrastructure and service standards to support rising traffic. Gold prices have risen following US President Donald Trump's decision to raise the global tariff rate to 15%. The increase is attributed to growing uncertainty over what would happen to trade deals negotiated with the US after the Supreme Court restrained Trump's tariff powers. Bullion climbed as much as 1.3% to above $5,170 an ounce, with a weakening of the dollar making the metal cheaper for many buyers. On Saturday, Trump said he would impose a global tariff of 15% to maintain protective trade measures after the Supreme Court ruled against his use of emergency powers to set reciprocal duties. $42 luxury cars worth more than 20 million ringgit seized. This and more after this breather.
Itu sarang dia tu di hujung tu.
Sarang lipas memenuhi ruang dapur.
Tu terdedah lagi kuih-kuih roti.
Pengunjung terdedah ancaman kesihatan.
Bukan buang sampah tu, mungkin termasuk kalau time busy.
Itu mungkin kamu punya alasan lah, tapi
gara-gara kedatangan macam lipas.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3. The Stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Saya tengok ending semalam.
Tak ada tonton.
Tak ada tonton.
Tak ada tonton. Tak ada tonton. Tak ada tonton. Tak ada tonton. Tak ada tonton.
Macam ni baru boleh kawan.
Aduh, tak sangkut-sangkut pun daripada tadi.
Nasib baik hati anda tersangkut dengan drama TV3.
Sama-sama Ramadan.
Sama-sama berkat
di TV3.
Bertemu sekali lagi pastinya dalam Sembang Sahur.
Sembang Sahur.
Sembang Sahur. Sembang Sahur kembali bersama dengan anda.
dia dah waras sikit. Tapi biar makan sekadar yang perlu saja, jangan lebih-lebih lah.
Sama saya Syekh Naim dalam segmen Jom Masak.
Ya, akhirnya terlaksana.
Kita kat luar sana nak baca Al-Quran berkira-kira. Tapi kat dalam ni baca Quran tidak terkira.
Teruskan bersama dengan kami di Sembang Sahur setiap Rabu dan Khamis jam 11 malam di TV3.
Dan juga stream melalui Tonton.
Hai kawan-kawan, kawan-kawan pernah tak rasa tak selesa bila ada orang cuba sentuh badan kita? Kawan-kawan ingat tahu badan kita ni milik kita. Kalau ada orang sentuh tak izin, korang cakap tidak. Lepas tu korang bagi tahu ibu bapa ataupun cikgu ataupun kakak dan abang, okey?
Betul tu. Ingat, tak ada orang yang boleh buat kita rasa takut dan tak selesa. Kita berhak rasa selamat dan dilindungi.
Menarik di Malaysia hari ini sepanjang minggu.
Perang harga di media sosial, peniaga secara fizikal tersisih.
Self-diagnose dan ambil ubat tahan sakit tanpa nasihat doktor boleh bawa maut.
Taska mahal, pengasuh terhad, ibu bapa hadapi tekanan besarkan anak.
Judi online di hujung jari, risiko ketagihan membimbangkan.
Isu garantor atau penjamin, hati-hati, boleh jejas kewangan sendiri.
Isnin hingga Jumaat,
eksklusif ditonton dan TV3.
Anda sedang menonton podcast Biar Tahu Jangan Keliru. Melayu, sihir, macam tak boleh dipisahkan.
Dalam perjalanan kita nak sampai kepada Allah tu, Allah akan sampai kepada kita dulu.
Kalau dulu masa bercinta, dating tu tak pegang handphone. Tengok muka kekasih tu. Unik. Complicatednya.
Tak tahu, aku main forward ya.
Kekalkan adab kita di media sosial. Setia bersama dengan kami di podcast Biar Tahu Jangan Keliru.
Welcome back. Pulau Pinang has activated the Sungai Muda Contingency Plan 2026 after the Muda Dam in Kedah plunged to a critical 20% capacity. The Beris Dam currently stands at about 78%, but both dams are key sources of raw water released into Sungai Muda during dry seasons. The Pulau Pinang Water Supply Corporation said the move is a proactive step to safeguard supply. Under the contingency plan, authorities will maximize extraction from Sungai Muda while levels permit and rely on strategic reserves from the expanded Mengkuang Dam, which is currently above 90% capacity. With the hot and dry season ongoing, the Muda Dam may soon be unable to release significant volumes of water, possibly as early as March. The Customs Department in Johor has seized 42 imported luxury vehicles under various offences as part of a special operation dubbed Auditor. The operation, which began on January 5th, targeted non-compliance involving high-value imported cars. The vehicles are estimated to be worth more than 7 million ringgit, with unpaid duties and taxes exceeding 14 million ringgit, bringing the total value to over 22 million ringgit. State Customs Director Aminul Izmir Muhammad Suhaimi said 21 cases have been opened for investigation, with 4 company owners arrested so far. Among the offences identified was the failure to pay import duties for up to 24 months. Johor police are tracking down a driver who drove recklessly at the Sultan Abu Bakar Customs Immigration and Quarantine Complex in Tanjung Kupang before speeding towards Singapore. Iskandar Putri District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner M. Kumarasan said auxiliary police lodged report after the 2:40 p.m. incident on Sunday. A video of the incident has since gone viral on Facebook. Preliminary investigations revealed that the Malaysian registered car was seen entering Gate C, which is designated for heavy vehicles heading to Singapore. When directed to make a U-turn into the car lane, the driver allegedly refused to comply. Instead, he accelerated, crashed through the immigration checkpoint barrier, rammed 4 traffic cones and sped towards the exit point to Singapore. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for mischief, which carries a jail term of between 1 and 5 years, a fine or both upon conviction. Police are also investigating the case under the Road Transport Act for reckless and dangerous driving. Mexico in lockdown after notorious drug lord El Mencho killed. The details when Nightline returns.
Nak beli tu, nak beli ni, ramang mata lah. Tapi tak boleh boros, tak bertempat.
Bazar Ramadan kembali lagi kami mahukan menu berbuka untuk anda.
Ada orang melakukan ibadah untuk dilihat ataupun dipuji. Takut-takut kita ni menunjuk dalam ibadah.
Bulan Ramadan bulan mulia, bersedekah di bulan Ramadan, pahala berlipat ganda.
Bila terlalu bergantung secara emosi kepada pasangan yang tak boleh berenggang Jumaat ini.
Semuanya di WCI TV3 dan stream sekarang ditonton.
2-3 kucing melari, manakala sama si cinta hati.
2-3 boleh ku beri agar keberkatan menyatukan hati.
Sama-sama Ramadan,
sama-sama berkat di TV3.
Bertemu sekali lagi pastinya dalam Sembang Sahur. Sembang Sahur kembali bersama dengan anda.
Tidak waras sikit. Tapi biar makan sekadar yang perlu saja, jangan lebih-lebih lah.
Bersama saya Syekh Naim dalam segmen Jom Masak.
Dan akhirnya terlaksana.
Kita kat luar sana nak baca Al-Quran berkira-kira. Tapi kat dalam ni baca Quran tidak terkira.
Teruskan bersama dengan kami di Sembang Sahur setiap Rabu dan Khamis jam 11 malam di TV3.
Dan juga stream melalui Tonton.
Segalanya berubah bila kebenaran terbongkar.
Drama kau je. Boleh kau ni. Kau ni kontrak. I nak minta maaf.
Kenapa pula?
I akan jaga you. I will save you.
Mampukah Arif terima rahsia Nur?
Tapi I tak sangka. Tergamak kau sampai macam tu sekali.
You know nothing.
Shut up. Hak dah siasat semua benda.
Nur untuk Arif setiap hari 8 malam. Eksklusif di TikTok Drama Sangat dan Tonton.
Itu sarang dia tu di hujung tu.
Sarang lipas memenuhi ruang dapur.
Tu terdedah lagi kuih-kuih roti.
Pengunjung terdedah ancaman kesihatan.
Bukan buang sampah tu, mungkin termasuk kalau time busy itu mungkin kamu punya alasan lah, tapi
gara-gara kedatangan macam lipas.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3. The Stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Menarik di Malaysia hari ini sepanjang minggu.
Perang harga di media sosial, peniaga secara fizikal tersisih.
Self-diagnose dan ambil ubat tahan sakit tanpa nasihat doktor boleh bawa maut.
Taska mahal, pengasuh terhad, ibu bapa hadapi tekanan besarkan anak.
Judi online di hujung jari, risiko ketagihan membimbangkan.
Isu garantor atau penjamin, hati-hati, boleh jejas kewangan sendiri.
Isnin hingga Jumaat,
eksklusif ditonton dan TV3.
We're back with news from the foreign front. A historic winter storm has started lashing northeastern U.S., placing 59 million people under weather warnings and causing power outages and a travel ban in New York City. States of emergency have been declared in multiple states, including Massachusetts, Connecticut, Delaware, New Jersey and Rhode Island. Several have instituted travel restrictions or bans due to the blizzard, and at least 5,000 flights have been cancelled. Forecasters say much of the U.S. Northeast and the maritime provinces will be affected from Sunday evening to Monday. The storm is expected to be the most powerful nor'easter in nearly a decade for much of the region, bringing snow, fierce winds and coastal flooding. According to the U.S. National Weather Service, as of midnight local time on Monday, much of the Northeast had already been blanketed with snow. Much of the Northeast had already been blanketed in snow, with 10 to 25 centimeters reported in Manorville, New York, and Howell, New Jersey. It warned that an estimated 5 to 7 centimeters could fall per hour during the storm, and snowfall could reach 30 to 60 centimeters, resulting in nearly impossible travel conditions that were extremely treacherous. The storm has also left more than 200,000 people without power. Mexico's most notorious drug lord, Nemesio Oseguera, has been killed in a security operation aimed at arresting him. Oseguera, better known as El Mencho, died on Sunday after he was wounded in a clash with soldiers in Jalisco. Oseguera's death has since sent Guadalajara into a state of lockdown, with his followers setting vehicles ablaze and attacking security forces in retaliation. In a statement, the Mexican army said Oseguera's men blocked more than 20 roads in retaliation for the raid, which sparked a wave of violence in various parts of the country. The army added that 6 suspected cartel gunmen were killed, while 3 soldiers were wounded. 2 others were arrested, and a variety of weapons were seized, including rocket launchers capable of taking down airplanes and destroying armored vehicles. US and Canadian airlines have cancelled dozens of flights to Mexico amid the violence, with Air Canada saying cancellations to Puerto Vallarta would continue at least through Monday. The Jalisco New Generation cartel leader is one of the most powerful Mexican drug lords to be taken down since the capture of Sinaloa cartel founders Joaquin El Chapo Guzman and Ismael Zambada. In Nepal, 19 people, including a British tourist, were killed, while 25 others were injured after a bus skidded off a mountain road and plunged into an icy river. The bus, en route from the tourist city of Pokhara to Kathmandu, fell more than 200 meters into the Trishuli River on Monday morning, some 80 kilometers from the capital. According to local authorities, a Chinese national and a New Zealander were among those injured and are undergoing treatment alongside the others. So far, only 9 bodies have been identified. The cause of the crash is still under investigation. In July 2024, 2 buses carrying 65 people were swept off the road into the same river following a landslide. Switching to sports now, the Milan Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics have officially ended following the closing ceremony in northern Italy on Sunday. The ceremony took place at Verona Olympic Arena, an ancient Roman amphitheatre some 120 kilometers from Milan. After beginning with a tribute to classic Italian opera, flag bearers representing the 92 competing nations entered the stadium through large props from Ada and accompanied by a tribute to Italian film music. The drop of fire, the Olympic flame carried in a small glass vessel, was brought into the ancient arena to light up the rings before the parade of athletes. The final medals from Milan Cortina 2026 were awarded in the women's and men's 50 kilometers mass start cross-country skiing events before a tribute to the Games volunteers. The ceremony finished with performances from popular Italian musicians Major Lazer and singer-songwriter Achille Lauro. Norway topped the medals table for the fourth successive Games. They collected 18 medals, including 6 for Johannes Hosflot Klæbo, the king of cross-country skiing. The ceremony concluded with the handover of the Olympic flag to the delegation representing the French Alps, which will host the next Winter Games in 2030. Ramadan bazaars don't just appear, they awaken. In Bangladesh, that energy converges at the historic Chowk Bazaar Iftar Market, a culinary landmark that has fed the faithful for more than 4 centuries. With that, I'm Muhammed Ahmad Hamdan. Thanks for watching and selamat bersahur.